Welcome to Be Me with Shari Ware, the podcast where each day is a step towards a better you and where we focus on progress, not perfection. Join me as we embark on a journey of self-improvement and wellness, focusing on being just a little better than we were yesterday. Hello and welcome to the very first episode of the Be Me podcast. My name is Shari Ware. I'm your podcast host, and really, this is just an introduction for those of you who are already in my world and who know me, who've been following me for a while or been on the journey with me for a while. You will know that I already have a podcast. I've had it for a few years, and it was called the Everything Weight Loss Podcast. And so this episode, I should say, because it's really not about the video, we'll get to that in a minute, is really just an explanation of why I am changing the name. I decided that it was important for me to change the name. It felt right within myself, and I also put it out to my community, and the feedback that I got back really just confirmed that I was on the right path. And so the Everything Weight Loss podcast came about from my own personal journey. All of this comes about from my own personal journey. Back in 2010, I was at a place in my life where I was morbidly obese. I'd been morbidly obese for most of my life up until that point. And I finally found what I call my why power back then. I had tried many times to lose the weight before that point, but I'd never been successful. But something happened in 2010, and I was finally able to make the changes I needed to make to lose the weight. I went on a weight loss journey. Over time, it turned into a weight release journey, which I was extremely grateful for. And then as time went on, my journey continued. It turned into a health journey. Now, over the weight loss and weight release journey, I lost 100 kilos. And when I say it turned from a weight loss journey into a weight release journey, it was because I realized along the way that the reason why I had always struggled with my weight was not because I was lazy or that I couldn't control myself or that I didn't have any willpower. It was because of the subconscious beliefs, patterns, and drivers that were inside me that I didn't even know existed. Luckily for me, it's along my whole journey, it's been a case of when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And when I was ready for the next step, the universe would just throw things in my way. It would even it would slap me in the face with it. I'm very grateful to the universe for that, because I certainly would not be where I am today without that happening. And I'm super grateful for it. So I realized that I had to work on the inner me so that not only did I lose the weight, but that I was able to keep it off. And after all of that, it then turned into a health journey. And what I mean by that is that on the weight loss and weight release journey, I was very focused on the number on the scale and the size of my body. That's all I cared about. I knew that I did learn that it wasn't just the number on the scale that was an indicator of how I was progressing. I knew that I had to do things like measuring and all of those as well. But I still believed that those numbers, whether it be the number on the scale or measurements, the size of my body, were an indicator of how healthy I was. And then one day I realized that it actually wasn't. Not a very good indicator, and not
definitely not always the best indicator. And what I mean by that is that if you look around you in the world, there are many people who are in smaller bodies. And if you were to have the ability to look inside their bodies, some of those people are actually not very healthy. And then there are people in bigger bodies where if you had the ability to look inside their bodies, they sometimes are healthier than some of those people in smaller bodies. It's also not just about physical health. It's about mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, as well as physical health. And they are all interconnected. They're all important. It's a complete package and everything connects to each other. These are all things that I learned along my journey. And so the focus for me turned from the number on the scale and the size of my body to how healthy am I emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. And that is my focus today. My focus is also just taking small steps towards a better me every day, which is what Be Me stands for. Better me every day. It's not about beating myself up about what I haven't done or what I should have done or what, all of those things, which I'm not saying I never do. I absolutely do. And that's why it's important to me to bring myself back and go, hey, hang on, that's not going to help me. What is going to help me is focusing on taking those small steps towards what can I do? What's a small step that I can do, that I can take, that's going to make a better me, that's going to make a healthier me in all of those ways. Over the last few years, I've definitely had challenges. I've had struggles. Nothing in life is ever a smooth journey, I've found. Sometimes we do have challenges, we do have struggles from time to time. That is part of life, and that is what makes us stronger. And so I actually am so grateful for every single part of my journey, because every single part of my journey, whether it's been good or bad, has made me the person that I am. And I like the person that I am. So that's why I decided to change the name from the Everything Weight Loss podcast to the Be Me podcast. And I feel like that is going to continue with me through my journey. I can't see that I need to change the name again, but then again, you never know. We'll see what happens in the future. And one thing I have learned, and one of the things I pass on to others, is that it's absolutely imperative that we be open to our beliefs changing and therefore our direction changing. So really nothing is changing other than the name. I will still be talking to the same kinds of people who I have talked to on episodes of the Everything Weight Loss podcast. I will be talking about the same kinds of things. To me, it's all about health. Whenever I find anything that can be helpful in creating a healthier me, I love to learn about it and talk to people about it. And I also love to pass that on, because I know I'm not the only one who feels, who has the same challenges and struggles. I know there are plenty of other people out there who do. And if you're in this community, then I know that you are here because you benefit from what I pass on to you. And that's why I do what I do. The reason why I'm doing this, usually when I was recording my podcast before, I was recording on Zoom, and you could see my full camera. Unfortunately, I've tried a few times, and I don't know, I've moved house and I'm in a different recording location, and I'm not sure if it's the quality of the internet where I am, or if it's the Zoom platform quality. I don't know. I've tried quite a number of setups to get a good quality, and the quality of the video was just not up to my standard. I'm definitely not a perfectionist. It's all about checking the perfectionist hat at the door. However, I do know myself that if I'm watching a video and the quality is not great, I kind of struggle to stick with it. And the same with the audio. I struggle to stick with it if the audio is not good. So I am a little bit picky about the quality. I'm not 100% perfect, but it's got to be at a certain standard for me, which is why I'm recording this way. I did record it using Zoom, and the quality is just not good. So until I find a different platform that works to this quality, I'll continue to do it this way. This is a podcast. I generally don't have things that you need to see specifically anyway. Generally, the episodes are things that you can just listen to, and I like that because it means that you can be listening in the car while you're driving. It means that you can be listening while you're cleaning the house or doing those errands or odd jobs here and there, which is really important for people who are time poor. I know myself, when I first, at one point, I didn't even know what a podcast was. Somebody, a beautiful friend, introduced me to podcasts, explained what they were, and showed me how to get them. And a whole new world opened up for me. I learned so many things from listening to podcasts. It's not that I don't like to read. I love reading, but sometimes I struggle to find much time to read. I like to fit a lot of things into my day every day. And so podcasts were wonderful because I could listen while I was driving or while I was doing other things that, I could still do while I was listening. Instead of listening to music, I would listen to a podcast, and it's amazing what things I've learned from that. So it's not important that you watch the video. Any information that I give you generally is something that you can just listen to. If there is ever something that I know you need to actually see and watch, I will make sure that I film that using a platform that you'll be able to see that. And I will let you know in the show notes that you actually need to watch that video rather than just listen to it. But I can't envisage that there would be many of them. So if you're already in my world, if you're already in my community, thank you for coming on this journey with me. Like I said, nothing's changing really except for the name. So hopefully you will continue with me on this journey. If you are new to my world, welcome. And feel free to go back and watch any episodes of the Everything Weight Loss podcast. They're definitely all still relevant. Everything that I've talked about is still relevant. It's just I felt that the name needed to change to be more in line with where I am and where I'm heading. Now, some extra resources for you. If you're in my world, you might already know that in March, at the end of March, I launched the Be Me Bites newsletter. That is a weekly newsletter I send out every Friday morning Aussie time. And it's designed to be a small bite-sized chunk of something that you can utilize in your life to work towards being that little bit better every day, a better me every day. And I've done it in small bite-sized chunks, just one short article, one short featured topic a week. And I also give you accompanying resources if you want extra resources to go a little bit deeper into the topic of the week. Small bite-sized chunks so that you can easily consume it and actually implement it. You have time over the weekend to start on implementing that small step in your life, because knowledge is power only when you implement. You can have all the knowledge and all the tools in the world, but if you never use it, it's not going to help you. And everything that I put in the Be Me Bites newsletter is all things that you can take very small steps in. There is no step that is too small, and any teeny tiny step in the direction towards a better you is a good step, and it's progress. So I'll put the links in the show notes to the Be Me Bites newsletter. I'd love you to check it out if that resonates with you. I've just released edition number 17, and the foundational editions, the first edition explains all about it. And you can get a free book if you subscribe. Details are on that edition. Edition number 2 is about the S.T.E.P.S Formula, and that goes into more detail of my my formula to taking those small steps in your life. So that's definitely a good one to check out. And then I did a series on Why You Do What You Do, which is 6 editions. Each edition is a specific piece of what drives your behavior, what drives our behavior, what makes us do what we do. Even when it's not something that we consciously want to do, there's a reason why we do every single thing that we do. So episodes, it would be episodes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, I believe, but they're all named Why You Do What You Do, and they start after episode number 2, after edition number 2. So definitely check them out. If you don't already, you just never know what you're going to see in there that is going to give you an aha moment and make you go, oh my God, now I understand why I do what I do. And when you know why you do what you do, it can be so much easier to get around it, to take those steps. Even just making your subconscious brain aware that you now consciously know what's going on can definitely help. So I'll put any resources that I think would be helpful to you in the show notes of this episode. And I look forward to sharing more with you moving forward, either episodes just on my own or episodes with other people. I really like to have conversations with people where I find something new that I think, oh, wow, okay, that's really helpful. And then I want to share it with other people. So I'll see you in the next episode, and I'd love for you to let me know how this resonates with you. Send me either put a comment on the video or send me an email. Again, I'll put all the details in the show notes. See you next time.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Remember to check out the show notes, and if you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, I'd love to hear them. If you've received value from this podcast, make sure to subscribe, and I'd love you to rate and review the show. Have a fabulous day.